Bert Sutherland, who's gathered together a collection of valuable old film taken in and around the Golspie area, showing the way it was there more than 50 years ago. Some of it now is so fragile after all this time that it's going to need a lot of expert repair work done on it before it can even be coaxed through a projector. But what is in good enough condition to see now makes fascinating viewing. Bert, thank you for lending us this film. Tell us how you came across it. Where did it come from?
It was taken by a Donald McKelvey and I discovered it quite by accident through a friend of his, Donald Gordon in Golspie.
Now, we've said some of it is in poor condition, but that can't be too surprising after all this time. It's lasted very well.
Yes, indeed.
Watch it with me, if you would, Bert, and describe what it is we're seeing. We've picked just 6 minutes or so, 6 or 7 minutes of it. Watch it with me and describe it. Now, that is Sandy McFarlane, the man we heard singing Granny's Heel and Hame. They're apparently at some kind of gala fete, perhaps, at the bowling green, maybe?
It's in the bowling green in Golspie. The man in the middle is W.G. Davidson, a solicitor. The two young boys are relatives of McKelvey's.
And that lady, obviously clutching her copy of Granny's Heel and Hame, hoping to get it autographed by Sandy McFarlane, I would have thought. Yeah, that's a lovely moment on film, and I should have thought pretty rare. This is Golspie Main Street?
Main Street, yes. Jock Smith, who that's his daughter, who's now an old granny, and his brother-in-law, Bob Murray.
Golspie Main Street will have changed out of all recognition, I would think.
Quite different. Bob Murray again, school children.
All responding very well to the camera, except this old gentleman. He's not liking it.
An old ploughman, William Monroe. Dr. Mackay, who was the science master at Golspie, higher grade as it was at that time.
Yes, the postie delivering a letter.
Sutherland Home Industries formed by Duchess Millicent.
And these folk in the wonderful bunnets?
That's a local fisherman, I've forgotten his name, Charlie Brown, who came to Golspie to rebuild in Robin Castle after the fire. And
now some wonderful old vehicles outside. Is this outside your house?
Yes, that's the house I was born in 1907 Riley. In 1907 Albion, I beg your pardon. They were both Albions, both without engines, but I did discover an engine eventually.
Sitting there with pride of place outside your house. Beautiful old things. They've stood the test of time very well.
Yes, they were very popular.
Now what's that?
That was a model exactly the same as my father's first motorbike. A Rex, single speed, no gearbox, belt drive.
The three of them sitting there on proud display, and just behind them there something which is for contrast between then and much later, isn't it?
It's a 1952 Riley.
Here's a collection of, 50s cars, I think.
It was at some rally we attended. This was the hill climb at Rest and Be Thankful.
The famous bend on the Rest and Be Thankful.
And this was racing at Turnberry. This is quite interesting. That's William Mackay. He was the foreman in the forestry department, felling trees as they did in those days without power tools.
Hard work.
Yes.
A double-handed saw.
The saws got stuck, so they've got to wedged up. But I think it's lovely photography.
Yes, beautifully done.
And this is the sawing it into logs as they did, and carting it into the sawmill by horse and cart. The sawmill was power driven from the waste timber, steam driven from the waste timber, loading the. And that's exactly how they cut the timber up then.
All these belts and wheels operating off the one steam-driven engine.
To carry out the various operations around the finished product.
Now this is the Celtic football team of 1936 on a visit to the north, going to be playing Brora Rangers, and that group includes some of the most famous names of all time. John Delaney, Jimmy McGrory, two of the great names of Celtic football, setting off to play Brora Rangers at what was a new ground. They were there to open the new ground, is that correct?
That's correct. It was known as the Dudgeon Park. Mrs. Dudgeon was Willie Sutherland, the Sutherland Arms Hotel sister.
There's the Celtic team, and before that we saw the Brora Rangers team. This is obviously an opening ceremony of some sort. Do we know who would have performed that opening ceremony?
Sorry, I don't.
One of the mysteries still to be solved.
I think the lady may well be a Miss Dudgeon, but I suspect it is, but I can't guarantee it.
2,000 people turned up for that match.
Yes.
And the flag is unfurled, confirming that it is 1936, Brora Football Club, Dudgeon Park. And the proceeds of that game, 3 cheers there, the proceeds of that game going to the local hospital and the local hospice, I understand.
Yes. A very good hospital in Golspie.
And here comes the kick-off. And the lady, we think, may have been
Miss Dudgeon.
Miss Dudgeon, performing the kick-off and getting out of the way quickly. And the match underway. I understand that Glasgow Celtic won 7-1 on that occasion. And strangely enough, they went back to play Brora Rangers again just a year or two ago. And again, the score, I believe, was 7-1. And here they are returning from the game.
The car is a 1927 Burley. This is David Campbell, who was one of the founders of Golspie Motors, who was unfortunately killed in a motor accident.
A very grand lady seeing them off. Who are the 2 little boys?
The 2 boys are John Innes and his brother, painters in Dorna. That's the same children again.
Wonderful toy, that.
Yeah.
A horse on wheels.
I'm afraid I can't tell you who these people are.
I love the little boy getting his nose decked with a wet hanky from his mum.
It's Donald Gordon, who was a great friend of the man who took the films. He was a very clever fellow, but unfortunately, the man on the left was blind, Andrew Mackay, and the one in the blazer was the English master, I think, at the Sutherland Technical School. That was taken in the grounds of Altsagart, which I bought in 1935, so it's taken before then.
Lots of acting up for the camera's benefit. Now this looks like the Bobby's having a sly drink.
Yeah.
And who's that?
John Cumming, the blacksmith, a very popular gentleman. This is flew from Stranraer to Belfast for a holiday in 1950.
The car carried in the belly of the plane. Talking of driving, Bert, you took part, I think I'm right in saying, in the 1956 Monte Carlo Rally.
Yes.
And how did you get on?
We were the best British private entry.
That's quite an achievement, quite an achievement.
My brother Ian was a very good driver. Thanks to him, we did very well.
Tell me, Bert, what are you hoping to do with this film? Because there are still 1 or 2 things that you need to find out about it, aren't there?
Well, we need lots of things in the village.
You need to identify a lot of the people and a lot of the incidents.
We're getting on quite well with it.
And then when it's completed, what, you'll give a public showing of it?
Yes, I hope the first one will be in Granny's Healing Dame.
What a wonderful coincidence. Bert, thank you for giving us a preview. Much appreciate you coming down from Golspie to show it to us. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.